So in 5.5, we're going to talk about the law of sines. And so the law of sines says that any oblique triangle is any triangle that is either acute or obtuse. So we can have an acute triangle or we can have an obtuse triangle. Another way to say it is that an oblique triangle is any triangle that is not a right triangle. And so up until now, all the trig that we have done has been with right triangles. So what if they're not a right triangle? Well, we're going to find another way to solve them. And one of those ways is the law of sines. So there are two laws that enable us to use trig functions on oblique triangles. In order to solve a triangle, at the least, you must know the combination of the following. So you can have one side and two angles, so it's an angle, side, angle, or it's an angle, angle, side. You have to have two sides and the angle opposite one of those sides, and so that would be our side, side, angle. Two sides and the included angle, so that is our side, angle, side, or just three sides. So side, side, side. Alright, so moving on here, it tells us to solve triangles in cases 1 and 2, we will use the law of sines. And to solve triangles in cases 3 and 4, we will use the law of cosines. And so the easiest way to do this is just look at the information that's given, and you'll be able to see whether you have to use the law of sines or the law of cosines with it. Alright, so what is the law of sines? It tells us that given the following triangle with sides A, B, and C, and angles alpha, beta, and y, we can set up three equal ratios. These proportions are known as the law of sines. The law of sines equates ratios of the sine of an angle to the length of the side opposite that angle. When using the law of sines, set up a proportion by equating any two of these ratios. So, you have to we could take sine of alpha over side A, and that's going to be equal to sine of beta over side B, which is also equal to sine of y over side C. And so we could take any of these. We could set these first two equal to each other, the second two equal to each other, or we could do the first and the last one there equal to each other, okay? So any of those. So we could take sine of alpha over A, and we could say that's equal to, it's proportional to, sine of y over side C. Now, how do you solve a proportion? Do you remember? Remember, to solve it, you're going to cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply and divide. Alright, so then let's look at example 1. So it says find the missing sides and angles given that angle A is 64 degrees, angle C is 82 degrees, and side C is 14 inches. So we can draw this, and just so you know, anytime I'm drawing these, they are not drawn to scale. And so we label it. Remember, your angles are always capital letters, and your sides are always lowercase letters. So angle A is 64 degrees, angle C is 82 degrees, and side C, which means it's across from angle C, is 14 inches. Now, what I do is I make myself a little table. And I'm going to solve the rest of this triangle. So I need all three angles, and I need all three sides. And once I have this filled in, I am done. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label what they gave me. So angle A was 64 degrees, angle C was 82 degrees, and side C is 14 inches. So once this table is complete, we are finished with this problem. So we have to decide, what do we want to find first? Usually the easiest one for y'all is if they give me two angles, go ahead and find that third one. Because remember, all three angles in a triangle have to add to 180 degrees. So if we're going to find angle B, we could take 180 minus the other two angles added together. And so when we do this, let's calculate it and see what we get here. I got 34 degrees. So now we just got to find those other two sides. Well, you want to, if possible, use what they gave us, okay? Because if we use something that we found, if we make a mistake in it, then it's going to carry that mistake along with us. So sometimes we will have to use something that we found. We'll see that when we find side B, because we're going to have to use angle B in order to do it. But if possible, we want to avoid that as much as possible. So we need, in order to do the law of sines, you need an angle and the side across from it. So look right here. They gave us angle C and they gave us side C. So we're going to use that to help us find the other two sides. So let's first start with our side A. Alright, so the formula then, since I'm using A and C, I'm going to put C first because it's what I know. So it's going to be sine of angle C over side C is equal to sine of angle A over side A. Now I'm not going to write this out every time. I will on the first couple and then I will stop. Alright, so sine our angle C is 82 degrees over our side C is 14. And that's equal to or proportional to sine of angle A, which is 64 degrees, over side A. And so we're going to cross multiply and divide. So I have A times sine of 82 degrees is equal to 14 times sine of 64 degrees. Now remember, we're solving for A, so we need to divide by that sine of 82 degrees. And so we know that side A is equal to 14 times sine of 64 degrees, all divided by sine of 82 degrees. Now just be super careful when you go to put this in your calculator. Because remember, when you hit that sine button, it's going to open a parenthesis. So it's very important on that top one that you close it if you're going to try to type this all in at once. Now you could type in your 14 sine of 64 degrees, hit enter, and then do divided by sine of 82 degrees, and you'll get the same answer, or you can do it all at once. Now make sure, because we are going to hit that sine button, that we are in degree mode, because our angles are in degrees. Alright, so let's type it in. So we've got 14 sine of 64 degrees divided by sine of 82 degrees. Excuse me there. And so I found that side A is equal to approximately 12.71 inches. And so I'm going to go put this up in my box up here. Now we just got to find side B. And so we're going to do the same thing we had done. I need side B, so I'm going to have to use angle B, and I'm also going to go ahead and use angle C and side C because that's what they gave us. Could we use angle A and side A? We can. But if we made a mistake on our 12.71, then it's going to make side B wrong as well. So you missed two of them instead of just one. Also, 12.71 we rounded, right? Because it wasn't exactly 12.71. So therefore, if I rounded on side A and I use it in my problem, that means side B is going to be rounded even further off than what it actually should be. Alright, so when I'm going to find side B, I'm going to go ahead and use what they gave us. So I'm going to use the information about the C's. So I'm going to take sine of C over side C. And it's going to be equal to sine of angle B over side B. So I'm going to fill in what I know. So sine of 82 degrees over 14 equals sine of 34 degrees over, we're looking for side B. So we're going to cross multiply and divide. So we've got B sine of 82 degrees is equal to 14 times sine of 34 degrees. We're solving for B, so we got to divide by that sine of 82 degrees. And so we got B is equal to 14 sine of 34 degrees divided by sine of 82 degrees. And so we're going to plug that in our calculators, and we're going to find that side B is approximately 7.91 inches. And so I'm going to come back up here to my answer box, and I'm going to put 7.91 inches. I look at my answer box. Everything's filled in. I know all three angles. I know all three sides. I am done with this problem. So there is our example 1 solutions. What's up there in my box.